Welcome to Health Matters with Dr. Nelson Bulmash, sponsored by the UI Radio Network at uiradionetwork.org. Catch us on Facebook and Instagram at United Intentions and Twitter at Higher Intention. Look for us on 99.1 FM, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, and many more. Over the next hour, we'll introduce you to some fascinating people and engaging discussions that may provide you with answers to assist in revolutionizing your own personal health. And now, here's Dr. Nelson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash, the host of Health Matters on the UI Media Network. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I want to remind everybody in just a few days we've got an extended weekend, and let's take time during that period to honor the folks during Memorial Day who died so that we could have the freedoms and the amazing country that we currently live in. Please remember that. I want to thank everybody right here in Atlanta who's catching the show. I've got an exciting show. I've got a real firecracker with me today. My friend and colleague, yes, Gene, you're a firecracker. Dr. Gene Lawrence is here. Now, guys, I'm going to make some comments in a minute. I want you to hang in there with me, okay? And you promise me that. Don't you hit the station button to go to another station here, because I want you to hear fully what I have to say. We have a show today that's going to talk a lot about women going through the transition of perimenopause and menopause. And I know many of you men, when I do these talks, say, Nelson, are you kidding me? I don't want to listen to this, really. And the answer is yes. Guys, I'm a little worn out on hearing you complain about not having a clue, not understanding the women in your lives. Because here's the deal. We all have amazing women in our lives, whether it's our mother, our grandmother, our daughters, our sisters, our friends, our work colleagues, your partners. It's important that you have some understanding of why people do what they do. Today's going to be about that. So men, step up, be honorable, and check it out, because you're going to learn a lot of really amazing things. And I promise you guys, I promise you that we will have a show, right, Gene?
That's right.
On men's health and men's hormones, because I know it's important. It's funny, the moment I mention this, it gets more hits and more people talking than probably any other topic. So before I introduce my wonderful friend, and you're really going to enjoy her, she is brilliant and lots of fun, and she's going to steal the funniest line. But in all honesty, she came up with it. It's hers. I wanted to use it. I'm not going to kid you, Gene. So folks, guys, hang in there. This is going to be a really informative show, and it'll be a fun show. It's going to give a lot of answers to why particularly the women feel as they do. But men, when you hear us speak, you're going to get ideas about why you're so stressed and you feel the way you do. So it'll be a separate conversation, but if you're willing, I should say, and able, call in, folks. We got a call-in number. It's 678-495-4345. And if you want to submit questions, you can do so through Facebook Live. We'd love to hear from you. So for those of you who are catching the show right here in Atlanta on Talk 10 FM or on WGJY FM 99.1, thank you. You are my hometown folks. Please know how much I appreciate you, your love, your support, and you sharing the show. Our shows are growing. More and more people are checking in. I appreciate that. Continue to come back. I'm always going to have a great show for you, and continue to share. I want to help get great information out into the world. If you're not familiar with my show, Health Matters is designed and dedicated to discussing the very, very best of health, inspiration, and spirituality. We're always going to tie those three together somehow. All right. A few other things, and we'll jump right in. If you folks want to connect with me, you may do so. I'm under Dr. Nelson Bulmash. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And I love Instagram. So really check me out there, okay, folks? If you want to connect with the folks here at the United Intentions online, you can follow them on social media. They're connected to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as United Intentions, and Higher Intention on Twitter. Also, folks, UI Media Network offers now a host of advertising services, even if your budget is limited. So if you want your business to grow, call us again at 678-495-4345. Now, I want you to understand that we can create a customized commercial that will help you grow your own business much more quickly. Okay, I want to remind you that this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the psychic bartender, who is Gloria Parker, and her friend, the wonderful Lorelei Robbins. I love both of these women. I've known them for decades. They are wonderful. They have an incredible show, and they're going to be talking about astrology and numerology. You want to get a free reading? Join us then this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same stations, folks. All right. Don't forget, we are now selling our Conscious Journal. Plan your day intentionally with our Seeds of Intention Daily Conscious Planner. You're welcome to visit us at www.unitedintentions.org to learn more or to purchase your journal. All right. Jean, I am really excited you're here. You are brilliant and you are fun. And that's how I think about you. You're one of the smartest people I know, and you have a way of making complex topics easy and fun to understand. So we're going to jump in. I want you to tell them what your background is.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on the show, Nelson.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure.
And this is a little bit of my background. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, certified in that. I am a certified clinical nutritionist. I'm a master herbalist. I am a doctor of naturopathy. I'm a doctor of naturopathic medicine. And I also have my PhD in natural medicine. And I'm a diplomat of the American Clinical Board of Nutrition. So I'm board certified.
I'm glad you're not giving a quiz on how many credentials you have. I'm not sure I would get it all, but I'm in the ballpark. All right, let's jump in here, Jean, because all kidding aside, what we're going to talk about is very important and very impactful.
Yes.
Both of us are doctors, both of us see patients. You specialize much more in women's health issues than I do. So I am going to call upon you to answer some questions so we can make sense, we can sort this out for a lot of the women out there who, quite frankly, feel lost. Yes. Like there's no hope in their lives. So let's start out and talk about perimenopause and what's it mean when we say she's in perimenopause?
So perimenopause, Nelson, are the years that are leading up to actual menopause.
Right.
And it can start usually the average age mid 40s to 50, but I am seeing it in women as young as in their 30s that are having premenopausal symptoms.
Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you something. Do you think that we're starting to see perimenopausal issues start earlier in life?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Because I've actually had women come in their early 30s who are coming in with their hormone levels in the tank, so to speak.
Yes,
really, really low.
I had a 26-year-old patient, and her hormone levels were worse than a postmenopausal woman.
Frightening. Wow.
And she's 26. That's too young.
It's way too young. All right, so let's jump in. And I'm going to use you, for example, because like I said, you do a lot more of this. So someone comes in to see you, a woman from late 20s perhaps to maybe mid 40s, I'm going to guess.
Yes.
And they're showing lots of signs and symptoms of being in that state of perimenopause. How do you determine where they are? I know there's so much controversy and such a lack of knowingness of how to handle these cases from a functional perspective. And so many of these poor women come into doctors' offices and they're given a prescription for Prozac, which is lunacy in itself.
Well, I'd like to tell patients that no one has a Prozac deficiency.
Thank you.
So if we're lacking the basic building blocks, B vitamins, minerals, we cannot run our systems correctly. And so women get into a cycle. I see a lot of them that are craving sugar or craving starches. So what they do is they eat sugar, and then it depletes the B vitamins that they need desperately for their liver to go through detoxification, for their hormones to be made, just everything they need. And it's also depleting their minerals. So then they feel worse, and then they get more depressed, and then they crave more sugar, and the whole cycle starts over again.
Yeah. And it's a vicious cycle.
It is a very vicious cycle. And they have to control their blood sugar. And I will tell you that getting your blood sugar under control will be one of the greatest impacts you can have on your overall health, but especially your hormonal health. Because if you are into intermittent fasting, which I know is very popular nowadays, some people it works great for.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work for everybody. And so if your blood sugar is starting to tank and your energy goes down and your brain isn't working, then you need to eat something, but not just high processed carbs. You need to be eating some protein and some fat to just make sure that your blood sugar stays stabilized, because when it starts to drop, your adrenal glands are called upon to come over and bump up some cortisol.
Right.
And I don't think anybody needs more cortisol.
No. Not unless they're in a state of exhaustion and
Yeah,
no longer
which
can
is, yes. And we always produce cortisol in our adrenal glands when we're stressed out. So when you don't eat for a certain period of time and your brain starts to tank and your brain says, well, is she in a famine? Is she in a war? Why is she doing this? And it freaks out. And so then the adrenals freak out. And then you put on weight, you can't lose it. And I talk to women that are eating absolutely perfectly, they're exercising like crazy, and they're saying, I still can't lose any weight. This is what I hear over and over. They say, I'm exhausted. I don't have energy to keep up with my kids. Forget about libido. That's over.
Yeah. No
right?
energy for that.
They
right?
love their husband. It doesn't mean they don't love their husband. They're not looking for somebody else. They're not on Facebook trying to find an old boyfriend or whatever. They're not doing that. But they just feel like they're not themselves anymore. And this is what I hear, I would say, 90% of the time in my office.
Yeah. Jean, I want to take two different paths with you here. A lot of, particularly the younger women, don't necessarily have the funds to do the comprehensive metabolic testing to find out what's gone sideways. Is it their thyroid, their adrenals, their estrogen, their progesterone levels? Let's do this. Let's talk for the people that maybe have limited funds. What are some of the things they can do from a dietary, from a lifestyle, like where maybe they add meditation, maybe they alter their diet, maybe they take some supplements. Let's take that path, and then let's take the path where we test people.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about the things that women can do.
I usually prefer to see at least some basic testing if they can bring labs that they've had done at their doctor's office.
Okay.
Because anemia plays a very big part in how the hormones are being used because they're so exhausted. And so there's not enough oxygen to the brain.
Right.
And so then the brain is freaking out, and it's not going to make the right amount of hormones if you're anemic because it's not getting the blood flow to the brain. So anemia is vastly overlooked. Not all of the markers that need to be checked for anemia are done. But if someone says, okay, I've been to my doctor, I have labs I've had done, they can bring those and I will look at them.
Okay.
But also dealing with stress is such a huge deal. And this is the difference that I see between men and women. And I don't want to offend anybody. So please understand that. Men need to go to work. They want to be out of pain. That's basically what I see. But women have to function. So we have children to take care of, possibly, maybe grandchildren that we're taking care of.
Right.
We have kids that are not obeying their parents. They're in trouble with the law, all that stuff. Maybe they're on drugs. The husband maybe has gone a lot working. Maybe she's gone a lot working. There's no help at home. They come home and they feel very overwhelmed. And so they reach for that box of Frosted Flakes that's on the shelf and, okay, I'm just going to eat some quick carbs and I'm going to tell you about the neurotransmitter dopamine in a minute. So they get into this state of where they get home, they're tired, they wish they had a chef. Don't we all wish we had a chef at home?
I think so.
Don't even care if we have a maid, we just want a chef to feed us. But it's just too much to do. Time crunches, kids' sporting events, it's too much. And then every magazine that you pick up for women is always telling you how to do things better. You shouldn't be wasting your time just sitting and staring at the clouds. You should be on, doing something, planning something, remodeling something. No, you know what the best thing you can do for yourself is to sit outdoors and just look at the clouds and turn off your phone and turn off your computer and just sit.
So just unplug.
Just
get out in nature and unplug.
Yes, get away from the electronic storm that we all live in. Is a huge deal because they have found that all this electronic bombardment that we're dealing with, these are endocrine or hormone disruptors. So our pesticides, if you spray your house for bugs, that's also an endocrine disruptor and can actually raise hormone levels, especially in guys. It will raise their estrogens.
Yeah, we mean negatively, by the way.
Yes, negatively.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want them to have too much estrogen. That's going to be in the guys' talk. That's going to be fun.
We'll pick it up there.
So, there's eating out of plastics, right? Heating plastic in microwaves, more estrogens. Eating meat that is not always grass-fed or organic,
right?
Loaded with estrogens. And people wonder, why do I feel like this? Why is it that I can't lose weight? So here's kind of the trend. May I talk about menopause yet?
Yeah, I want to ask my person, do we have a call? Somebody calling in already? You want to take this real quickly? Or you want to?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right, we're going to pause on the caller.
Wrong number.
Let's.
Okay.
We'll start this conversation, then we're going to take a commercial break in a minute.
Yes, that's fine. But I want to talk about the transition into menopause, and we want it to be a very healthy one. We want it to be a smooth transition, not the rocky road that a lot of people are dealing with. And we're going to talk about that as soon as we come back.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a fascinating discussion on female hormones. And we're talking about two specific phases in the lives of the women we love. We're talking about perimenopause and menopause. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to Health Matters, and my guest is Dr. Jean Lawrence. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Are you ready to be the hero of your own story? It's time to put the power of your health back into your hands. Join us for our free 25-day journey to get your life back now from chronic illness. Our doctors and experts will guide you back to optimal health.
He also went on to tell me, just right after that, because I made him tell me, he wasn't going to tell me anything. But I said to him, what are my chances here? You know, I need to know what I'm up against. And he says, well, you got a 20% chance of survival if you can get through these chemo treatments. He said, and that's for 3 to 5 years. He says, now that's if you can get through them. I don't know if you can get through them or not. And he said to me, he says, if you don't do this chemo, you don't have a chance in the world, in my opinion. He said, because this stuff spreads fast usually. And, we're going to do everything we can do in here. Well, I tell you what, I was very, very upset over this news, and I didn't know what else I was going to do. I knew there had to be a better way. I knew there had to be something else I could do.
Go to www.getyourlifebacknow.live and begin your journey today.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to another edition of Health Matters. I have my friend and colleague, Dr. Jean Lawrence, and we're talking about two specific phases in the lives of women, perimenopause and menopause. Jean, you have an announcement that you want to share with everybody about our sponsors, and then we're going to talk about the importance of dopamine and thyroid function.
This show is brought to you by Plus CBD Oil. Discover the benefits of Plus CBD Oil, America's #1 choice for CBD products. Find out more at pluscbdoil.com. That's PLUSCBDOIL.com. This is lovely. I'm going to apply it because he needs to calm down a bit.
Okay. All right. There you have it. I need
think
to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, he's not chilled enough. There you go, darling.
I'm chilling now. Now, as I chill here, before those of you who can see me and those of you that can hear me, I'm chilling. But while I chill, Jean, I want you to talk about the connection that is so vital between dopamine and thyroid function.
Okay. So when I was talking about when you eat sugar and you deplete your B vitamins, B6, B12, folic acid, you also deplete the minerals zinc and magnesium. And you need all of those in your system in order to make what are called neurotransmitters. And these are little hormone signalers that just talk to each other, right? The serotonin is one that helps you to be happy and helps you to sleep. Everybody usually knows about serotonin, but dopamine is another neurotransmitter. So when I read the effects of low dopamine, these women are sitting across from me and they're holding their hand up like, that's me, that's me, that's me. So here's some of the signs of low dopamine, and I'll tell you why you need this as well. They don't care about people. They just want to isolate themselves from people. It's like, I'm turning off my phone. I hate people. This is the way they think. They don't care about their family anymore that much. They don't care about their friends. They're craving all these starches. They're craving chocolate. Sometimes they start gambling. This happens because it can feed addictions. They don't care. It's like, I don't feel good. I don't care anymore. Somebody will say, hey, let's go shopping. Let's go to lunch. No, I don't want to go. I just want to stay home. And I know out there right now, there are a bunch of you raising your hands saying, that's me. That is me. She is speaking the truth. I know it. Now, if I don't have enough serotonin and dopamine production, I cannot make my thyroid hormone. Uh-oh. There's receptors for thyroid hormone on every cell in your body. Your brain cells, your skin cells, your heart cells, every cell in your body needs thyroid hormone to work. So you can't make it. So now you're not happy, right? And your energy goes way down. But also, you cannot make dopamine if you don't have enough estrogen and you don't have progesterone. And that's what starts happening between perimenopause and menopause. That shift. You start having these surges of estrogens. So sometimes you're really, really hot. Everybody else is in a parka in your house and you're in your bathing suit. You're like, oh, I'm so hot, I'm so hot, I'm so hot. Then other times you're in a hoodie and everybody's in a t-shirt. You're thinking, now, wait a minute. Either I'm hot or I'm cold, or I'm hot or I'm cold. Why can't I just find a happy medium to this? And hot flashes are a huge, huge deal.
All right. Very, very good. So I want to go into that. I want to explore that in a few minutes, but I want to backpedal a little bit here. And I want to talk about some of the things that people can do, women can do, to help them to at least get to a more neutral place, meaning where they're not, they're not tanked out. They're not ready to kill their kids. They're not ready to leave their husband. Let's talk about some of the things we can do. And then you have a specific test. I want to talk about the Dutch test.
Yes,
but,
yes.
But before we get into that, Jean, I want to talk about how we can change our diet, how we can do things like meditation, how we can do other practices that help at least minimize the damage of the transition and hopefully bring us back to a better place of being.
Yes. So I think it's very important. Women are very much about relationships. And so we need girlfriends that we can talk to without any judgment. I mean, we need to quit saying, what kind of car do you drive compared to my car? And
right.
What does your phone case look like? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Okay. The point is, you need to have a friend that you can be real with, and you can just say, this is what I'm struggling with. And they say, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with the same thing. Listen, I've done the marriage thing, the kid thing. I'm still married. I'm a wonderful man. But I've done the kid thing. I've done the menopause thing. I get it. So when these women sit there and cry and basically have a nervous breakdown in my office, I get it. I understand that your hormones are very, very powerful. But taking time for yourself. I talk to a lot of moms. It's all about the kids. It's all about the husband. It's all about everybody else. And she's lost in the shuffle. So when the kids finally leave home, she goes, okay, now it's time to take care of me. You cannot wait that long. You need to take time for you. Get a massage. Take some, get some time alone. If you choose to meditate or pray, whatever works for you. Mindfulness practices are very important. But time by yourself. If you want to know where your kids are, take a bath, pick up the phone, or shut the bathroom door. Your kids will immediately appear. This is just immediate. Here they are, right there. So take time to yourself, take a day off, and go someplace that you want to go. Do what you want to do.
Beautiful.
That is such a huge deal. You got to take care of you and have a little indulgence. You know what I mean? Stop and get, somebody's asking where I'm located. May I pop right in and say that? Okay. So, no, I don't take insurance because I'm a doctor of natural medicine and insurance does not cover that, which they should. But that's a whole nother discussion and that's up to them. But I'm located at 3 different places. I'm in Toccoa, Georgia, which is 90 miles northeast of Atlanta. I am in Rutledge, Georgia, which is 30 miles south of Athens, Georgia. And I'm also in Gainesville, Georgia. So I am in 3 different spots. Probably pretty easy to find me. But I love women to care about them. I hug all of my patients. Listen, we don't hug each other enough. We need to connect and have just somebody just to hug us and cry if we want. And listen, women apologize for crying in my office. I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? We have these as release valves for stress. You need to cry. Get it out. But you have to know that there's hope. And this is what women are seeking. They're tired of being on Google for hours and hours and hours. They need hope and that somebody says, listen, I'm going to help you through this. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
And I'm going to see you through to the other side. And you're going to be okay. And husbands love me for that. You guys that are listening, listen, I work for Longhorn refillable gift cards. There you go.
Jean, I actually want to follow up on what you said, because one of the things, guys, this is specifically for you, but women, you'll appreciate this. Hugging and snuggling is very, very, very important.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest things that it does is it decreases the stress hormone, cortisol, and it increases what I call the love hormone, oxytocin.
Yes.
So, folks, men and women out there, husbands and wives, one of the best ways in the world you can start your day before you get out of bed. And I'm a firm practitioner of this. I hope my wife doesn't kill me for saying this.
Too late.
But is to take 15 minutes before you get out of bed. And guys, work with me here. I'm talking about just snuggling, because women who are going through a really intense perimenopausal or menopausal transition are in a rough place. So when I say just snuggle, it means don't try for more. Don't put pressure on women, your wives, your girlfriends. Make sure that you snuggle with them from a place of, I'm just going to be here to hold you so we connect with how much we love each other and no more. Don't have any second agendas about needing sex out of it. Let that be when she is not stressed so much that she can connect with you in that way. But if you start as many days out of the week as possible, you will be astounded as to how much more energy, how much more grounded you are. And you don't wake up with that alarm response, because as you sit there and snuggle with each other, you're lowering the stress hormone cortisol, increasing oxytocin, and you start your day with less stress and feeling more loved.
Well, and everybody wants to feel loved. I mean, that's such a huge thing. I'm so glad you said that, because this is what I was going to read at the beginning, and I found this on Google Images. I was preparing a talk for another talk I'm going to do later, but these are the 7 dwarves of menopause. Itchy, bitchy, sweaty, sleepy, bloated, forgetful, and psycho. Can I get a witness out there somewhere? We all know that we've suffered with some of that. But women they're struggling, their hair's falling out, they're gaining all this weight, they don't know how it happened. They don't understand that that's a protective mechanism by the body when hormone levels start to shift, that the body is protecting us because we need hormones also for bone health. And so a lot of, we're taking more calcium than anybody in the world. We have more hip fractures than anybody in the world. A woman's hormonal status at the time of menopause is a greater indicator of her risk for osteoporosis than her vitamin D or calcium level.
Interesting.
Progesterone tells your cells to make new bones. Now, this does not mean run out and get on progesterone. You have to understand that hormones don't stay what they are. They change into other hormones. So cholesterol is the starting point for everything. Then we make pregnenolone. Then we make something called DHEA, which converts into testosterone, which converts into your estrogens and your progesterone. This is a big, complicated picture. It is a very scary web of hormones. And this is why if you go out to a store and you buy your own and you try to self-diagnose, aren't we all trying to do that to save money? Oops, it backfired.
Yeah, right.
So you need to be working with someone who is going to, A, test all of your thyroid hormones,
right,
not just TSH. You need to know about the Dutch test. So I'm going to tell you about this. So this test is called Dutch test, DUTCH, and it stands for Dried Urine Test Comprehensive Hormones. And there's one for women that are still having a cycle. So if you have migraines at a certain time of your monthly cycle, this is great for picking up why that's happening. It's amazing. Okay? Listen, you fix a woman's migraines and her hormones, honey, she's happy for a long time. I just truly have seen that. But also there's one called the Dutch Complete, and I use that for men testing, and I also use that for women who are in menopause. And it tells me not just, I used to do blood hormones, and I don't do that anymore. It didn't give me enough information. This one tells me their cortisol levels, so you don't have to take a saliva test. It also tells me your downstream metabolites, or how your liver is converting your hormones, whether down a protective, good pathway or down a precancerous type pathway. And if you have breast cancer in your history, you need to know this. Don't wait till you get a diagnosis.
Right.
You need to be proactive, and we all know that. We're all responsible for our own health. We can't leave our health up to the government. We can't leave our health up to Google, okay? Because you get on some website, and in 2 minutes, you've got a brain tumor. You need to stop reading that stuff. Stop it right now. Okay.
It reminds me of that classic line, Gene, in the movie Kindergarten Cop. It's not a tumor. That's the thing, folks. When you go to Dr. Google, you have every malady imaginable.
Yes, and you know what? Will we just please start laughing more? I mean, I find stuff to laugh about every day, and I laugh at what people tell me in my office. You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
And it's fun, and I want them to laugh, and I want them to relax. Gene, just breathe.
Breathe, folks. We're going to be
Breathe.
right back. We're going to take another short break so we can get a word in from our sponsors. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to Health Matters. And my guest today is Dr. Jean Lawrence. We're talking about perimenopause and menopause.
With all of life's stressors, it can be challenging to stay balanced and healthy. Hemp-derived cannabinoid, or CBD supplements such as Plus CBD oil, are becoming well recognized as a key supplement to optimize wellness. By working directly with our own internal system that maintains homeostasis, the endocannabinoid system, CBD, can help restore the body's natural rhythm when we need it the most. Learn more about Plus CBD oil and how to balance the system that balances you from www.pluscbdoil.com. That's www.pluscbdoil.com.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to another edition of Health Matters. My guest today is Dr. Jean Lawrence. We're talking about female hormone issues, particularly what women go through during perimenopause and menopause. But before we get back into our conversation, I want everybody to know you're welcome to come join us at the Power Team International Vision to Wealth Success by Design Entrepreneur Workshop in Atlanta tomorrow, May 22nd. Tim Ray, the founder of the United Intentions organization, will be there, and he will be speaking on the Success Panel at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to register now, free for a life-changing experience at success2020.com. Jean, let's jump right back in, and let's spend a little bit of time. Do you feel like you got everything you want to say about the Dutch test?
Yes, but I wanted to mention it is a urine test, so you don't have to go to the lab to have it done. You just do it at home.
Yeah, and we can all
great.
do that. That's right. What I love about that, by the way, I'm just going to reiterate. I know you already said this, but what I love about that is when you do a blood test, you get a flash of what's going on in the blood right now, and they're looking for specific metabolic markers. When you do the Dutch test, you're getting all the metabolites, and what that means is when a molecule, when a chemical, when a hormone, when a neurotransmitter goes through a series of breakdowns into what are called metabolites, they're breakdown products. We can measure that, and it gives us, and Jean said this, but I want to reiterate because it's really, really important. It sets you up so that you know, for example, am I susceptible to various forms of cancer? If you have specifically elevated metabolites, that means you could certainly be at risk. So it allows you in that moment to say, you know what, I'm going to change things. I'm going to make my liver work better. I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to make lifestyle changes that take pressure off my liver. And we're going to see how we can get less of these elevated metabolites and therefore decrease our risk for cancer. I just wanted to add that because that's
Yes.
so incredibly important.
Oh my gosh. That's why I did blood hormones. I wasn't finding much out. I'd look at it and go, well, that just tells me a total, but it's measuring bound hormones to protein. And it's not telling me what the liver is doing with this. And there's ways to take it from a bad pathway into a good pathway. There's ways to do that.
So let's talk about some other things that women can do. I know we're going to talk about hormones in a second. I definitely want to do that. What kind of things, like, for example, I know that you have to be careful that certain exercises can be so stressful that they raise cortisol, further deplete adrenal function, and then further deplete thyroid function. So we can screw ourselves up even worse.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because Jean, I worked with a lot of very, very high level athletes, and our way through the insanity is always to work out harder. And so one of the things that I did years ago when I was really sick is I kept trying to work out harder, thinking that it would ground me, that I would feel better. And what it did is it just destroyed my adrenal status. Then my thyroid tanked, and then all the other endocrine systems went down to it. So my message, folks, is make sure you're not working out too hard. Let it be light to moderate if you're in this place where you're really struggling with hormonal balance. What are your comments about this?
Okay, so when I get a Dutch test back and it measures the cortisol levels, if cortisol is normal, okay, they can exercise and they're fine. They're handling it, they're fine. But if I see cortisol that's really, really high or really, really low, they need to rest. And I will actually tell them they need to walk or maybe a gentle swim or some stretching, something very low impact.
Right.
Because their body is already stressed. And if you push it, your brain does not know that you're not running from something.
Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
If you walk, you're not running from something. But if you're running and running and running, and then you're lifting weights, if you're anemic, and I've got to make this point, if you are anemic, and normal markers aren't going to show this, the labs that I run go deeper than that to really find anemia. If you have anemia because your periods are heavy and you don't have enough oxygen and you go to the gym and try to work out, you're going to get a headache, okay? And your muscles are using a ton of oxygen. There's not enough oxygen for your muscles because your brain needs to come first.
Right, right.
So you'll go to the gym day after day after day, and you're working out, and your muscles aren't growing. That's it. It ain't happening. And your trainer's going, oh, you just got to come more, you just got to come. No, we got to help the anemia to resolve first. And then you can get a great improvement from your workout.
Great point, Gene. And one of the things I want to add as well is one of the signs I find with women is, Gene, when they're barely exercising and they say, Nelson, my muscles are already on fire. They're already burning, meaning they're getting a lot of lactic acid.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an early, or could be a late sign, depending on how long you've worked with an athlete. But if an athlete says, I barely done anything and I have terrible burning in my muscles already, it means they don't have the oxygen to burn. They're going into oxygen debt, and they're using different energy processes to try and attempt to accommodate for the exercise.
Yes, and if lactic acid builds up, you want to take magnesium in order to help that, But any woman that comes in to see me that's stressed, I put them on minerals, especially heavy in magnesium, which is very calming.
Yes.
So when we're stressed, we get in fight or flight mode. Sympathetic mode is what it's called. And we actually hang on to copper and sodium, and we release zinc and magnesium because those are very calming. Well, we don't want the body to be calm if we have to run. Well, we're not chased by tigers anymore. I mean, cavemen or not, we're not chased by that anymore. But we have other stresses, right? Bills that are due, stress at your job, stress with your coworkers, stress at home. But I have found that most people's stress comes from their families. I mean, all right, you guys fill in the blank with that one because everybody's got somebody in their family that causes them stress. But there are different types of stresses. But you've got to really make sure you have enough zinc and magnesium.
Right.
Because this is why women get fibromyalgia. And I have been saying this for years, that this is a mineral deficiency. Mm-hmm. Well, nothing is going to work if your minerals are depleted. You're not going to get your workout isn't going to work. You're not going to be able to relax. Your mood is going to stink. You're going to have more anxiety. So it's just back to, this is a football. You know what I mean? It would take all the teams and start over and go, this is a football. We're not going to talk about plays and all these expansive things that nobody understands. We're going to get back to the basics. And I think a lot of doctors miss that. They're so hung up on the supplement of the month that they forget that all of your functions in your body require certain minerals in order to work.
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember studying years ago under a gentleman by the name of Dr. Robert Cass, who you may know. He's a legend in functional medicine. He's been probably doing this for 45, maybe 50 years. And one of the things he said is when you start, for example, in homeopathy, where we use homeopathic remedies, he said you start with 13. And when you get really good, I think he said you use like 39. And then when you get really, really, really good, you go back to 13. Meaning, folks, you have to always have your basics. Everybody wants to jump into calculus. I want to jump into this advanced place. If your basics aren't in check, if you don't have enough vitamin D3, if you don't have enough B vitamins, if your diet isn't excellent, you're not eating a diet high in plant-based food. And I'm not saying you for those of you, now we have so many different blends. You have the carnivore diet on one end, you have the vegan diet on the other end, and keto and paleo in between. So whatever diet works for you. I don't know about you, Gene. Is there a particular diet that you like to?
Okay, so this is the thing. The people that wrote the book, it was good for them.
Yeah, good.
But
very good.
Some people crash on a ketogenic diet and other people thrive on it. So I also do kind of a metabolic typing test that is actually saliva and urine. And you do it right there in the office, and it tells me in just a matter of minutes what kind of diet you should be eating.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, if before you get on one of these food plans where you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, you're like, this isn't working for me. Some people eat eggs and bacon, and they just run for 4 hours. They're like, awesome. It's great. And then other people got to go back to bed. It's about their metabolism is different. Their minerals are different. The buffering systems of their minerals, their pH is different. And you have to figure this out or you're missing the boat. So, you know what I tell people? You go into a health food store, and I love health food stores because they can carry a whole bunch of stuff that I can't fit in my office. But you walk in there, you're overwhelmed. This is what I see over and over. Women are overwhelmed with the amount of information. And so you don't know if you need a supplement, and if you do, how much to take. And those things are not cheap. We know supplements are not cheap. You want to get more bang for your buck, right? But you also, sometimes hormones are indicated, but I like to go as far upstream as possible and figure out if they're not absorbing their nutrients and breaking down their food properly, you're wasting your time. You've got to fix digestion first.
Good, Gene. And I want to step back a minute. Tell them what it means when you say to go back upstream, because that's a really important point to understand.
Okay. So, for example, if I live by a river and they find there's contamination in the river, what are they going to do? They're going to go back to the source of the river to find out where the contamination possibly occurred. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's the same with your health. If you walk in with a symptom and I just slap you with a supplement, that's not finding out anything. This is what functional medicine is. It's finding the root cause and not treating the symptoms. So I want to go back all the way through digestion, what kind of nutrients are they missing, all these other things, and I just go back as far as I can to the root point.
Beautiful.
And then the body is beautifully designed to make, it's made as basically a self-cleaning oven, and then things will start to resolve on their own. And I tell people I'd rather you make it than take it.
I love it.
Now, doesn't that just make sense? Let's just bring the common sense back to healthcare.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I don't in any way, Gene, mean to offend. I have plenty of friends who I've met who work at health food stores.
Yes, and they're very knowledgeable.
Yeah, they're very knowledgeable. But Gene's point, it should be so well taken, because having somebody say, I think you're deficient in magnesium, though it may help, it doesn't give you a vision, a collective profile of what's going on. And once again, going back to the headwaters, finding out where upstream the water in the rivers being tainted is very, very important, because it tells us here is where the problem starts. And we know when we know where the problem starts, we can address why it isn't functioning well.
Yes, just like, for example, if your adrenals, if you're very stressed, then a hormone called DHEA gets low. That's what converts into testosterone. So when you're stressed, you can look at your husband and think, hey, we did it a year ago. You should be happy with that. Right. And I want to take it from that to, you cute. You can come on over here for a little bit. So that's what women want too. They want their libido back. They love their husbands. They want to just get their life back. Just get back to normal. Have fun. Listen, the plan should be you're 90 years old riding a Harley, wearing hot pants. That's what we all should be shooting for, honey. Right there.
Interesting visual.
Let's do it.
But
well, yeah, some people we don't want to visualize that. But
yeah, hot pants and some at 90. I don't know. Others maybe so.
But you know what? To have fun and enjoy life.
Yeah. Gene, it's so important that you brought that up, because after all, if you're not having fun in the game of life, or you don't ultimately see fun in your game of life, what? And I'm going to be careful when I say this, but what is it? What is it all for? You know, I love to laugh. I laugh with people every day. I love people that crack me up. I love to crack other people up. I do voices and things, and I have fun with that. But my husband and I just bought the full set of the Three Stooges. Now, some of you women are going, oh, that's so dumb. That's so stupid. So stupid. Well, I used to think that till I sat down and actually watched it, and it's absolute brilliance. And I love to watch them because the stupider they are, the more that it makes me laugh, and it just takes all the stress of the day away. So whatever makes you laugh personally, okay, whether it's a Jim Carrey movie or old Robin Williams videos, he was a scream. Anything that makes you laugh personally, I don't care if it makes anybody else laugh. You need to watch it. You need to enjoy it. Hey, go in a card store and read the funny cards. I've done that and laughed out loud right in the card store, and asked me if I care if anybody else is listening. No,
I don't care.
I love that about you. It's important not to care, really. I mean, and I don't mean be apathetic. I mean just not be too attached to that outcome.
Yeah.
I have to share this, and then we have to take another, our third commercial break. When I was ill as a child, do you know what my mother used to do? She used to put on the Three Stooges.
See? That's why Nelson's here today.
Yes, because I
because
grew up
of
on
Curly.
the Three Stooges. That's right.
And Shemp.
No, I'm not kidding you. My mother is still with us. Not doing well, but is still with us. And she used to put on the Three Stooges.
Happy Mother's Day, Dr. Nelson's mom.
Yeah,
a week late.
Thank you. That's okay. Folks, we're going to take our last commercial break. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. I have the amazing Dr. Jean Lawrence here, and we're talking about women's health issues. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Susan.
And my name is Megan.
And we're the hosts of The Awakening Educator, a show about education, its policies, and the issues most relevant in our schools.
We take you inside contemporary issues to understand them from different points of view and highlight the achievements and best practices of the people who serve our students.
I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist with over 25 years of experience working with children, families, schools, and communities to improve the health and academic outcomes.
And I'm a systems thinker with a doctoral degree in educational leadership with over 25 years of experience as a teacher, school leader, and district administrator.
Together, we plan to take the educational system by storm by using our personal experiences and knowledge to inspire those interested in a brighter future for education.
You can listen to our show every other Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WDJY 99.1 FM, WTTA 101.2, Talk 10 FM, Facebook Live, and Spreaker at United Intentions.
You can also catch us at uimediaapp.com anytime from anywhere in the world.
So grab a pen and paper and take notes.
We're going to change the way you think about education on The Awakening Educator.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I have so much fun with Jean. I can't believe that we're down to the last 15 minutes of the hour.
Boo.
Give me a moment here. I'm a little sullen. I'll get through it. No, I can't be. That's right. I did my CBD oil, right? So I am chilled.
Yeah, you're
okay.
chilled
All right,
out.
so I'm chilled. I am. Don't worry, not too sullen. By the way, folks, I want to ask you all a question. We were getting some good comments on Facebook. Men, for those of you who have listened through this, and women, once again, this is not just a show for women. I want to be really clear about that. Men, by understanding where we're going with this, you're going to have a greater ability to understand some of the very significant trying struggles that the women we love go through. And that's really important because I can't imagine losing my wife. And Jean, you and I were talking about before the show how many men and women are married for 29, 30, 35 years, and then they get divorced. And it's because in many cases, nobody's effectively addressing the breakdown of the system. So who wants to, please no offense, but let's get real for a moment. Who wants to be with someone that is an endless sinkhole? So, and that's terrible, but I'm just, give me a moment here. I want to be real with you because it's very, very important. One of the biggest struggles that friends my age, 45 to 65, are having is we're taking care of our parents in many regards.
Yes.
And I'm not complaining about that. I love my mother. She's extraordinary. So, Mom, not complaining about you. But I hear a lot of complaints from friends of mine. And one of the things that my wife and I have told our kids is we do not want to grow old and be a burden. One of the things, folks, you've got to do is you've got to take great care of yourself. You have to prioritize your own health care. Because here's the deal, folks. It's unlikely if you don't prioritize your own health, you will not have it. You will lose it, and you will be a burden to those close to you. And, who wants to be a burden for 10 or 15 years to the people who you love? So take great care. And in a moment, Jean, I want to make sure they know how to get a hold of you. Let's not forget that because she's really incredible at this. This is like would you say this is one of the top areas of your career?
Yes, my focus is on hormones, brain health, and immune health. And sometimes underlying infections play a huge part in how somebody feels, and nobody's checking that.
So, Jean, I want to mention a few things here, and we're going to have to really be on pace for this because we're going to have to get a lot in a short period of time. One of the things I want you folks to know is Jean and I are going to do the same kind of event for men in June. You think that would work for you next month?
Yeah, it might.
All right, we'll take a look at it, but don't fret. In the next 1 or 2 months, probably. I doubt longer than that. We're going to get together. We're going to have a show, and we may
Let's talk about hot flashes
We're going to, and don't worry. Just want to make sure I get this out, and we're going to make sure that we have time to go through this for men as well. So women, you'll have an understanding. Men, you'll have an understanding. All right, let's talk about hot flashes.
Okay.
What are they called? From what can we do about them?
Okay, so it's not just a power surge, right? So the first question I ask women that have hot flashes, number one, what is your stress level? Okay, so your adrenals are making cortisol, and when you're stressed, it's going to use up progesterone to make that cortisol. Progesterone is what helps hot flashes. So I want to know their stress level. And if the hot flashes are stress driven.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women are fine. Somebody walks in the door they don't like, they get a hot flash. So I need to know that. But I also want to know if they still have their gallbladder.
Why is that important?
All right, because your liver is going to process your hormones through your gallbladder. And if your gallbladder is not functioning or not there, you can't get rid of hormones as easily.
Mm.
And I have helped more hot flashes by helping the gallbladder. I can't even tell you. Well, who looks at that?
And don't hold out on us, Gene. How do you do it?
Well, it depends, right? So I want to have them eat more beets. Sometimes it's going to thin the bile.
Okay, good.
More cruciferous vegetables, right? Broccoli and things like that. But making sure that they're not taking a high dose antacid is a huge deal. That's going to really affect gallbladder function, but that's a huge deal for hot flashes.
Why is it so important, Gene?
Because then you're not going to break down and absorb your nutrients. You're not going to absorb your proteins, amino acids, all these things that are going to happen.
You can't, remember, folks, you got to have adequate stomach acid to make.
Yes. We could do a whole show on digestion.
Digestion, yeah.
And everybody that you see in the store is buying, white bread and X-Lax in the same cart. Is this kind of a no-brainer here?
Yes, it is.
Okay, but let's talk about brain fog really quickly. So hot flashes are not undoable. They can be low estrogen. They usually just stick people on estrogen. They will also stick women on the hormone replacement, and then they never check their levels again. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we got a comment.
Right, we got a comment here.
Most divorces happen around age 40 to 60 because of menopause. Yes. And so, listen, husbands, if your wife doesn't think that she's worth it and she's just trying to cover up her symptoms, get her in to see somebody. It doesn't have to be me, but get her in to see somebody that knows what they're doing with that. So I have these women that say they're having a lot of brain fog, right? This is a huge, huge symptom. And I have done extensive training with Dr. Dale Bredesen, who wrote the book, The End of Alzheimer's. So I deal with dementia patients as well. And so here's what happens. You go through menopause, you have these estrogen surges, then you have more inflammation that's created. Then you start getting into insulin resistance or prediabetes, and then you start having all these other issues. But in the meantime, you're starting to lose bone. When you lose bone, the metals that have been stored in that bone, like lead, start to leach out and cross the blood-brain barrier and cause brain fog.
Right.
Okay. This is why you don't normally see dementia in someone in their 20s and 30s. This is happening at that point.
Got it.
Okay. You do not want to ignore brain fog. You don't want to say, oh, it's I'm just getting older. I'm sorry, 49 is not time for brain fog.
Yeah, nope.
I'm sorry, 69 is not time for brain fog. I want to have my mind totally sharp when I go out of here. Totally sharp. And that should be everybody's plan. So, it could be a whole show on the brain. He just needs me to move down here or something. I don't know. No, I'm not doing that. Anyway.
You need to be outside in the sunshine.
Yeah, be outside in the sunshine. But brain fog is a huge, huge deal, and stress will actually shrink a part of your brain called the hippocampus that controls your memory. And please get off the sugar. Sugar will shrink your brain. And if you ask anybody with an Alzheimer's patient in their family, ask them what they eat. Sugar, 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 because they can taste it. And that's a low zinc problem.
Right.
They can't taste their food. So you see how it all goes back to basic nutrients? Just basics, starting with the basics, building blocks. If the foundation of my house is well built, the windows will close, the doors will shut. It will work. But if my foundation is crumbling, what do I expect to put a penthouse on top of it? Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Yes, right.
You the man, Nelson.
We have had a wonderful show, and I want to end with final thoughts.
And do you want me to say how to get in contact with me yet or not?
No, we're going to do that after final thoughts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you worry. I'm not going to let you down in that way.
Well, he took that CBD stuff, so I'm worried about him a little bit.
She thinks I'm overly chilled.
Okay, so final thoughts are, listen, changes in your hormones are inevitable, all right? The transition to menopause should be a seamless one. All that should happen is you stop having a cycle. That's it. You shouldn't go into this brain fog, I'm having hot flashes, I hate people, you shouldn't be even going through any of that. And women, I think that's normal.
Right.
That is not the normal function. Okay? Let's correct it. Let's get Let's get on this now. Let's handle this brain fog now so that you can take care of your grandkids and watch them grow up and get married and have their own kids and just be around to impart all this wisdom that, listen, when you've been a mom and you've been married as long as you have, you've got a ton of wisdom to share with other people, and they need to hear it. Okay?
Yeah, it's funny. I want a couple more points here. We have just a matter of minutes left. Here's the thing that's sad to me, Gene. We get to this point where we should really be enjoying life. I mean, we've worked hard. We've raised, in many cases, our kids, and we're too spent to have a good time. And I told my wife, I pulled my wife aside the other day, and I said, sweetheart, please, you better get yourself in shape. I mean, she's normally in great shape, so I was just being kind of playful with her. I'm not giving her a hard time. But I said, honey, you better keep yourself in shape because we're going to have a lot of fun. The kids are out of the house now. Now it's you and me, and that means the focus is on you and me. The kids are doing great. It's time to have fun. It's time to say, hey, what trips do we want to take? How do we want to grow together? What do we want to do that brings us back to why we got married in the first place?
Yes. And you know what? What good does it do to have a retirement fund that's worth $3 million if you're too sick or too tired to enjoy it?
Thank you.
No point. My husband and I will dance in the grocery store. Okay? You know, they have the little intercom with the music on. If we hear something we like, we just stop the cart and we just start dancing in the grocery store. Listen, when you're at the end of your life, you're not going to say, I wish I'd spent more time at the office.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Gene. 9 years ago. Wow, I can't believe that. 7 years ago, this goes in waves. I had 9 friends die 7 years ago. And I'll tell you something, it really took me out of the saddle, so to speak.
Yes.
I mean, these were people, all of them, all but one of them were doctors. And 7 of them were people I went to school with. All of them were in their 50s. The point, folks, is you're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised tomorrow. You might be here. You might not be. I've had a lot of friends that left this world long before they thought it was their time. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Live compassionately. Live with empathy. Keep yourself in shape. Give people respect. And live a life that allows you to do the things that you dreamed about. I'm so excited. I'm not far from 60, and I'm really excited about traveling the world with my wife doing things that are really fun. And one of the things that I had to do, guilty as charged, I want to share this with you, is life with 3 amazing, overachieving kids got to the point where my wife looked at I one day and we said, it feels like we're roommates. You know, you're too tired to really enjoy yourselves because everything is going into work and the kids.
Yes.
And so if you're in that situation, find ways to make it work. Remind each other that you will have time, even if it's not right now. I remember the Saturdays where my wife looked at me and said, oh, no, sweetheart. No, I took 2 of the kids last week. You're going to have to figure it out. And that's before Uber and Lyft existed. You understand what I'm saying? So it was very, very tricky, and we just had to find a way to make it work. Don't leave each other. Don't give up on each other. Always do your best.
And you know what? Forgive other people. Okay? If somebody hurt you and they're dead now, I see this so many times in my office. I'll say, do you have someone you haven't forgiven? Because you will hold that in your system, and it's toxic. It's toxic to your hormones. It's toxic to your adrenals. It's toxic to your thyroid. It's toxic to your muscles. It's toxic to your brain. You have got to let go of past hurts and just listen. It ain't hurting them. It's just hurting you.
Yeah, drop the anchor, folks.
Yeah.
Lastly, Gene, I have another amazing show coming up next week. I'm going to be talking to a very brilliant friend of mine. His name is Frank Kelly. We're going to talk about why making sure you create a life that you bring money into your life so that you can have the life you choose.
Okay, what about my contact info?
Say it quickly, 10 seconds.
Lawrence, LawrenceHW.com. That's Lawrence Health and Wellness, LawrenceHW.com.
Perfect. Thank you, folks. We'll see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thanks, Nelson.
Bye, Gene.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Health Matters with Dr. Nelson Bulmash, where we help you discover how to ignite your mind, body, and spirit connection. Join us next time when we will bring you more exciting guests and engaging topics. Meanwhile, Feed your mind, exercise your body, and nurture your spirit. The United Intentions Foundation and its associates take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests.